Hi there. I am working on a project called Deconstructed Journal Pages, and they look something like this. This is an unfinished one, the back of it, so it does not look like anything that I'm sending out. So if you're in my swap, you can watch this video. What I want to do is I want to create a pair of scissors to fit on my journal page, and with the little scissors pocket, little they call them sheaths. And I discovered that our journal page is 8 by 8 folded in half, so it's 8 by 4, and the Tim Holtz scissors fits on there perfectly. So I'm going to use the Tim Holtz scissors as a guide. Now this is going to be a tutorial of sorts, so I'm going to go through what I'm using. First of all, I am going to use the Tim Holtz titanium scissors, my much loved pair. I use them, I abuse them, and they're like the Energizer Bunny. They just keep going and going and going. I've never had them sharpened. I use them to open cans. I've cut plastic bottles. I've snipped wire. I've cut paper, and they just keep going. I do have another pair that I use for fabric and that type of thing. But these are my studio scissors, and they just get a lot of use, but I'm going to use them as a pattern. So I have my scissors. I have some fairly large, medium-sized brads that I'm going to use for this. He's got a bolt in here to hold the blades together. On mine, I'm going to use brads. So I've got 3 packages here. I'll choose what I want when I'm making them. And if you'll want either your crocodile or a paper punch to punch the little hole where the brad is going to fit. So you'll need that. I have a paintbrush. This is just one that I use to do everything with. I collage with it, I'll spread gesso with it. I have some red screen printing ink. Screen printing ink is really made to go on fabric. See, it says fabric right here. And my burlap is a fabric. And I'm going to be painting my burlap a red color too. And I probably will not put all the splashes on there. But then again, I might. That would be fun, wouldn't it? To put little splashes of color on the scissors handles. We'll think about that. So you'll want some sort of paint. I like the screen printing ink. I like it, the shine to it, the sheen to it, but also I love that color of red. This to me is a true red. So much of the paint that I buy, I'm so disappointed when I get it home because it turns out to be a dark pink. So you'll want some sort of paint, or depending on how you form your scissors handles, but I'm going to use red paint. I have a stamp, and I'll show you why I'm going to use this. A background stamp would be nice. I'm going to use my hydrangea stamp, and I'm going to use the hydrangea part as a background. And then I have archival ink, both Ranger and StazOn in black. I have my burlap paper. This is what I'm going to make my scissors handles out of. You could also use, and I dug this out, you can use just about anything for your handles. You can use scrapbook paper, but I have this pad of velveteen fabric swatches I got for, where did I see the price tag? Here. $1.49 for this, obviously at the thrift store. Now it's already got paper around the borders here. I was thinking I'd make a fabric book out of it, and I still might do that. But if I do that, even if I do that, I'm going to have to remove some of these. And if you would put more fabric backing on the back of this, you could make a nice pair of scissors handles out of them and have a nice texture to them. So I to show you that. But you could use almost anything to do your scissors handles. I also have some metallic paper. You could use mirrored paper here again too. You can use just about any type of paper that you want. I'm going to use this metallic paper for the blades. And I'll probably either use the light gray, I could use the light blue, or the dark color. You'll want some sort of a marking pen. I've got a Sharpie. You'll want your, your ruler. And I think I've gone through everything. I don't do a lot of tutorials, but I like scissors, and I thought this would be a good tutorial for Mary Abrams to make. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make several pair of these scissors. And I found, let me show you, I found that I can get 2 of them and on a page if I do it like this. And I kind of squeeze them on there so I don't get a true shape in there. But if I do it right, it just snips off a little. And you can see I painted these red. And I've already got some blotches in there, so I might just blotch them up a little bit more. And then on the back, I took that hydrangea stamp and I stamped the background. And it just kind of makes it a nice mottled type effect. Now I'm eventually going to snip this right here. My blade gets snipped this way. I can't do that on both sides of them, but when I do the blade, I'll make up for the back side with my paper off of my blade, and you'll see that. You could choose to leave it just like this if you wanted, if you didn't care if they opened or closed. I want mine to open and close. So the very first thing I'm going to do, I'm ready to get started. I'm going to do a set of these first, and then I'll go and do the others offline. And you can see that paper, even as burlap paper, will fray, and that's really okay. The very first thing that I'm going to do is give myself some room here. See, these scissors handles will fit on here just fine. Yeah, this is what I'm wanting. Of course, now the pages that I send out will not have the clip. I just put the clip here to keep it closed while I'm demonstrating. So I'm going to turn this upside down. Now I know my frayed edge is over here. And I am just going to trace as close as I can to the edge and avoid that little dot in the center there. As close as I can to the edge with my marker. And I'm using my Tim Holtz scissors. You could use any pair of scissors that you want, depending on the shape and the size of scissors that you're making. I've just happened to choose these because they fit on my page just perfectly. And I'm just tracing around. Now I'm going to turn the scissors upside down, or I could turn my paper upside down and do the same thing. Now you'll see right here, I'm going to have just a little bit of crossover. I'm going to try to make it crossover on both sides. Cross over here and cross over here. I'm going to have to bring that down just a teeny bit. You'll see after I get it on here. So this kind of goes like that. Whoops, I didn't get this very well. And you can see on here too, this is 6 by 6. You wouldn't have to fool with this if I don't have 12 by 12 pad of paper. I just have the 6 by 6 of this. I have some corkboard paper, but I didn't want to use the corkboard. The cork paper. Cork paper, I think, for this will tend to break. Now, the reason I have my ruler is that I'm going to be wanting to put a little gap in here to cut these apart. So I just draw a straight line to do this in here. So I'm going to be cutting that apart. So that's what I'm doing here. And you see I have the gap on both sides. I probably have more of a gap on this. So I think I'm going to bring this in a little. I'm not too concerned about the stray marks on it. I'm actually making the marks a little bit darker so that you can see them. You might also want to get yourself a X-Acto knife or some sort of a blade knife, because we'll be using that to start the cut on the inside of these handles when we cut them out. Okay, now before I cut it, I think I'm going to use my SpaceOn this time. I'm going to stamp some hydrangeas background on these scissors just to give them a little, and you could do this with any type of a background stamp, just to give them a little mottoed effect. You could put text on there. You could collage this with, I was thinking dictionary paper. That would be fun to do, wouldn't it? And this will show through when I paint it. And part of it will get covered up, but that's okay. You'll see. I cut it out before I painted it on these others, and I think I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to cut it first. Let's grab a mat here, a cutting mat. You take your blade, your knife blade, and I do this all at once. Both sets at one time. I'm not going to cut the entire thing out with my knife. I'm just going to start it by cutting a slit down on the inner part of the handles. See, like that? So I can get my scissors in there to cut. And I do that on both sides, on both pairs of scissors. Now I just get my, see, I've got that slit already started. So I can get my scissors in here pretty easy. And finish cutting out the center. Now I'm not too worried about these marks because I will be painting this. Okay, so those two are done. Now I'm ready to paint them. I just love this color of red. I think it's the prettiest red. Now I could just use it right out of the lid here. And like I said, I don't care if paint gets on the back of this because both sides are going to get painted. And as I paint this, you'll see that stamped design will start to show through. Kind of more pouncing it on here to get it into the weave of the fabric or the burlap. And while they're drying, I'm going to put them aside. I think I'm going to use Now let's get out my colors here. These are nice. That's a nice color for blades, aren't they? I've got 2 of those. It probably, oh yeah, I do have a black. I have a dark gray here. I'm going to do this. Let's set these aside. Now I'm getting my Tim Holtz scissors thing here again. A piece of chipboard. I'm going to make a pattern for the blade here. And you'll want this blade facing this way, and then the same blade facing the other way. Now I'm going to just make me a pattern there. So this will come this way. This will come this way. Does not have to be perfect. This is just your pattern, so you might want to make 2 or 3 of these to get it to your own liking. Now let's make one the opposite way. So we're going to make the other one this way. And we'll just trace this one out again. But when I trace these on that paper, I'll have the advantage that I can fit these in better, to fit the paper better. I'm going to put it up here just for now because it's chipboard pattern. You can use a ruler. You can be as precise or as freehand as you want with these, depending on how particular you are. On these journal pages, for my use, I'm doing them for what we call deconstructed journal pages. I'm not too worried about perfection. I'm not going for perfection. I just want them to look reasonably like scissor blades. What I should do at this point is draw this off. Depending on whether you want your, let's look at that. See, the blade comes up to here, and then it's round. But I think I want mine to come down just a little bit more. So I might chop some of this off and attach my blade something like this. Now see, my blade will be just a little bit larger, so I might want that's just about right. Maybe just a little bit more. Maybe just a little bit off of the scissors here, off of the tip of the scissors. That's fairly good. About a teeny bit of a 1/8 of an inch there. Okay. It'll be made out of this type of paper, though. And it'll be attached on like this. Ooh, I can't wait. So that will be for this side. Whoops, see, you don't want to get them upside down. That will be for this side. And I'll need 7 of these. Now we have to do the other side, which looks like it might fit better. Just have to cut it a little here. Get attached just like that. I might straighten this out a little. Put my brad right in there. Only I need this maybe straightened a little. You just want to make yourself a pattern, and that's what I'm doing here. Let's cut these a little straighter. Okay. Now, so what we want to do, let's get this out of the way. What we want to do is make some of these, trace out some of these. I will have enough room for 7, but I'm going to do one of them first. Let's cut these out. One's off here. So that's this one. And that goes over here like this. I do like you. And this is this one, and it comes like this. This one's a little shorter. Oh, I like that. Yes, I do. So my next step is to glue. Is you're going to need some sort of a strong glue. Either Glossy Accents, E6000, your preference. I'm going to use the Glossy Accents. You might want to come in later and trim it up. Do some gluing here. And attach the handle to the blade. You might want to color that in. Let's do that with my Sharpie. That will be trimmed anyway. We'll go back in and detail that later. Let's do the other one. I just want to do the top of it. Let's trim it down a little though. Now I'll probably paint this, but let's, in lieu of painting it, let's just color it in with my Sharpie. Now, let's do the other blade. So this will come over this way there. Kind of want to make them so that they meet. So you want to, so I'm going to put glue on here. And my Glossy Accents. And you'll want to glue these down good. I'm just doing this fast for demonstration. That may be a little high. Bring it down a little. Okay, let's just trim this up. You could use a ruler to do that, or you could eyeball it, whatever suits your fancy. Oh, I'm liking that. I am liking my Tim Holtz scissors. Here we are with our scissors. We're getting ready to make a center point in here, so a punch hole so that I can put one of these little brads in there. So I'm going to use my crocodile to do that. There we go. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, let's take one of these brads. The little square silvery brad blings. And put it right in there. Oh, I like that. Now you can secure this if you wish. Now my scissors open and close. Now what I want to do is make a little, what they call a sheath, a scissors sheath, which is a little holder that the scissors blade will go into. On the Tim Holtz scissors, this would be the sheath, and that would fit in there. I want my sheath a little bit larger because I want it to fit on my page across this way. So what I'm going to do is I made a pattern. Looks almost like the size of an ATC. 3.5 inches vertically, 2.5 inches horizontally. Let me cut that out. So at the top, we're going to leave the top 2.5 inches. But at the bottom, we're going to come in 3/4 inches from the left side and 3/4 inches from the right side. Mark those 2 points, and from the left corner down to the 3/4 mark, draw a diagonal line. From the right corner down to the 3/4 mark, draw a diagonal line. So you get this type of a shape. And then we're just going to cut. Each side off. Like that. So our scissors will fit in here. And we're going to attach this to our page. So it will look like this. I'm going to make mine out of more of this burlap paper. And I'm just going to trace them. You can decorate these any way you want. I think I'm going to start by putting some of these. These are not brads. These are like little prongs. I'm just going to see if I can't push some in here. There. I do like that. going to attach this to the face of our page. And then our scissors will fit inside of this. So there we go. There are our finished scissors. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial and that you try your hand at making some scissors. You can make them all different shapes. You don't have to necessarily make them out of Tim Holtz scissors. I have a set here that this is a file folder booklet that I made years ago. But you can see I made little tiny embroidery scissors here. And these I actually cut out on my die cutting machine. There's a blade this way and a blade this way, and a little brad in between there. And then on the front of the file folder booklet, I have another little pair of scissors that I stuck into a pocket. And these scissors are actually glued down. But I have, it's the same pattern. I have some glossy accents on the front of them. But I wanted to show you that you do not necessarily need to make big scissors. You can also use a smaller pattern for your scissors. Make them all different sizes using this same technique. So I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial and that it has given you some ideas. Perhaps it's inspired you to make your own scissors project. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next page.